This is the beginning of a beautiful new game. What you building, you may ask? Well, I thought maybe cool trios or something. I search for a jungle and then take it from there. But why are you doing that? Well, To ask why we want to build a treehouse in a world that is indifferent to our goal and our struggle to succeed, to ask why we play in the first place, is to perform the essential questions of existentialism. When I start up a new Minecraft world, my goal is most of the time, much as in the real world, to get a dog, find a nice place and then build a pretty little house there. Maybe grow plants and annoy some villagers. I don't really want a huge complex villa or an elaborate redstone system. I just want to find a cute dog and maybe explore a bit. That is a goal I set for myself. There was no task given to me by the game and no deity guiding my steps with their heavenly knowledge. In a world without meaning and no predetermined goal, I created my own meaning and built an extremely pretty treehouse. Because I can and I wanted to. For Algerian philosopher Albert Camus, the most important question we as humans ought to ask ourselves is, why not just commit suicide? For him, and basically all existentialists, what a sad bunch really, there is no meaning in the world, and our hopeless struggle to find it somewhere and to make sense of it all is the definition of absurd. So why not just commit suicide? Well, I can't really answer that. Except maybe, please don't. But if we take a look at Minecraft, well, any game really, there's a fraction of an answer to that question in all of them. Why do we play? Why do we start the game and continue playing it? Even though there is no meaning in the act, not even in finishing the game, completing the goal, if there even is one. A hedonist would maybe say, for the sheer fun of it, of course. The joy of playing is the meaning of playing. The more fun, the better. Depending on your philosophy of choice, this video would end here. But I really need this video to be a bit longer, more complex and way more time consuming for the editor. Apart from that, I think this particular answer would be too easy. What do we make of the games that are just not really that fun? What is the pure joy of a horror game or a thriller? What is remotely hedonistic about the heartbreaking tragedy of A Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, or the sheer boredom of walking for 10 minutes in Pathologic? But let's get back to Minecraft and the like. The type of storyless, empty playgrounds for gamers to make up their own activities out of interacting systems in a world they are free to explore. One of Sartre's, probably the most famous existentialist, main concepts was that existence precedes essence. That we exist without a purpose or path planned for us, and that we are condemned to find our own meaning in an inherently meaningless and indifferent world. Basically, we are thrown into the world without our consent, without a creator to give us an essence before we can choose our own. We are, as he liked to put it, condemned to be free. Maybe some of you already know where I want to go with this. Sartre is not a pessimist. Everything he says and writes sounds pretty bleak and sad on a surface level. Camus' question as to why we should not just kill ourselves comes to mind. But Sartre, and Camus for that matter, is not a pessimist. Life might have no essential meaning and the world will forever be indifferent to our existence and our suffering, but we can give it meaning and determine our own path by the decisions we make and the goals we set ourselves. We might be thrown into the world, but we don't have to passively endure it. Be a leaf in the wind or let others or our own past determine our meaning in this world. So, let's create a new world in Minecraft and call it, well, Bob. Bob is, of course, created with a purpose, so its essence actually precedes its existence. Bob was in fact created for us, the player. Which doesn't negate the point I am about to make. There are religious existentialists that actually believe the world was in fact created by an all-powerful, all-knowing being that has at least some kind of plan in mind, but that our little human brains can't begin to fathom what that plan might be, and that the world is still mostly indifferent to us as individuals. That we should just endure life's absurdities and the inherent amorality and unfairness of it all and hope the next one will be better. But let's get back to Bob. Bob was created with a purpose and Bob was created for us. Well, actually, Bob's systems were created for us and then randomly generated when we hit the Create New World button. Our Bob is in fact unique to us, and then we are thrown into it. We appear at a random place and then we exist. Maybe we need to figure out the controls first, depending on if it's our first rodeo or not. Maybe we already know what's up and start searching whatever we want to find. If we build that treehouse or a villa, if we find the next ocean and start sailing in a random direction, or if we dig deep into the belly of the world to find rare ores, it was our choice and ours alone. At no point of playing does the game give us any more than the world and our body, our avatar, to interact with it. And what's more, Bob continues, indifferent to the goals we set for our playthrough. Bob doesn't care if we live or die. Bob has no plan for us, is not aware of us in any way. Bob is neither fair nor unjust. Bob consists of cold, unconscious, and unfeeling code. In one of his most important works, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus states that, "If I were a tree among trees, a cat among animals, this life would have a meaning, or rather this problem would not arise. For I should belong to this world. I should be this world to which I'm opposed by my whole consciousness and my whole insistence upon familiarity. This ridiculous reason is what sets me in opposition to all creation. Everything but the player is very much part of the game and the world." With our ability to interact and our need for reason and meaning, we set ourselves apart. We cut ourselves off from the game and continue playing it in the most paradoxical way. The dog I am about to tame is a part of the various systems of the game. The tree I am about to chop down for treehouse making purposes is very much part of the game. It doesn't question that. Of course, I am very aware that it also can't question that. But that is besides the point. Both the dog and the tree and everything else we interact with in the game world is, exactly as Camus states in the mentioned quote, part of the very code we are placed in opposition to. But that opposition is not an inherently bad thing. It's merely a fact of life and play, and one of the reasons we are able to enjoy the game in the first place. We can set ourselves a goal and then complete it. We can think of things to do and find solutions for problems that we basically created for us to solve. All this wouldn't be possible without the opposition we are placed in. When we play with the awareness of our opposition, we notice that we interact with the game more freely. As Camus states, a mind that is aware of the inherent meaninglessness of life and living finds peace, beauty, and well, maybe even a little happiness in every aspect of it. I mean, just look at this! The knowledge that it's completely random makes it even better. But let's take a step back for a moment. Let's talk about mods. My god, are there a lot of mods. That is of course because Minecraft is a very moddable game, but also, what are those mods? They make it more beautiful, more practical, more complex, more complicated, and more. There are story mods, terrain mods, enemy mods, creature mods, and all the modifications you can expect for a game that mirrors life. They add everything from dragons to ancient ruins, everything that a heart starved of meaning and purpose could want and more. Mods that make us feel like an adventurer, a seafarer, an explorer, a beastmaster, anything but ourselves. They make Minecraft larger than life. They give it purpose and direction. Minecraft mods are one of the most honest depictions of humankind's deepest desires. The desire for a story to tell, for a direction to go, and for, well, purpose. But Minecraft's evolution over the past years also shows this. They added more enemies, little hints of story, and an ending. In the beginning there were just blocks, randomly generated terrain, a handful of animals and enemies, and a virtually endless world to explore. What a scary concept! There aren't even the confinements of society or the responsibilities for other people and their needs. We have nothing but our avatar to interact with and project ourselves into the game world. There are no roles we are assigned to, no pre-existing structures to place us in perspective. We are the hypothetical first human in an empty world, condemned to be free. That pretty much had to change, or Minecraft would have stayed a perfect contemplation of free will, life, death, and everything else basically. They added a goal, an ending, and thus made it wish fulfillment. They moved away from the abyss that is the absurd as Camus defined it, discarded the existentialist questions for a more escapist approach, a more bearable, less confrontational game. But yet, Minecraft was a huge success, even in the early stages, and yet, we played. We played as if this all made sense. We played with the confidence of purpose. We played with a goal in our mind and a knowledge in our heart. The knowledge that in the end it doesn't really matter what we do as long as we enjoy it. As dark as Camus' question in the beginning of this essay sounds, as macabre and cynical as it is to read, he is not a pessimist. He dedicated 150 pages to that terrifying question and arrived at the answer that no, even though this, our life, might have no initial meaning, even though we will all die eventually, we should not. Life is worth living against all odds. In spite of the absurdity of it all, we should cherish every second of it. The world might be empty, meaningless, terrifying, and seemingly unfair at times, but we are all alive, we are aware, and we are gifted with a chance to experience it all.